Welcome back to another episode of the Rational Football League show. My name is Emmett. I'm here with my co-host Brendyn.
What up, what up?
We are back again with episode 26, guys. Another week down here. Can't believe what are we on now in the NFL, week 9? We're already about halfway through the season. The trade deadline passed.
Yeah.
Wow, dude. But
Crazy.
you guys,
It's going by like...
before we get too far into this, you
fast.
guys can follow us on YouTube, Twitter, Instagram, Spotify, and TikTok. We do post on all regularly. If you guys want to come talk to us, tell us how stupid we are, or if you like our videos, come tell us on Twitter. We're active on there all day, every day.
Please do.
But let's get right into it. Let's get going with the news of the week.
Let's get it.
Starting off with Thursday Night Football, as always. We had a barn burner. A shed burner? I don't think we call it barn. More of a shed burner.
A field burner.
A field house burner. An outhouse burner. Pittsburgh versus Tennessee. Two proud franchises that love to milk the clock, make the right plays, and get out of there. Steelers did end up pulling this one out. 20-16 came down to the last couple of possessions. Will Levis went 22 of 39 with 262 yards and 1 interception. Kenny Pickett went 19 of 30 with 160 yards and 1 touchdown. Not a great game for him. Deontay Johnson had 7 catches, 90 yards, and his first touchdown since 2021. This man has had over 100
since 2021.
Since 20. His last.
I didn't realize it was that long.
Yeah, his last touchdown reception came from Ben Roethlisberger.
Holy shit! I know he must have been happy as hell.
Oh my god! Yeah, he was so right on the field. He was the look of relief on his face was so heartwarming.
I didn't realize it's been like 2 years. Holy wow!
Again, what's crazy is when you look at his numbers last year. I think he had like some 80 catches for 860 some odd yards, no touchdowns. Never found the end zone.
Wow.
Here's another crazy stat. George Pickens had 2 catches for -1 yard. -1 yard. He almost got
crazy.
Wasn't mentally present enough to get 2 feet down, and wasn't able to get the touchdown. But yeah, 2 catches for -1 yards for him. But B, what's your take?
Not to hate on him, but didn't he have like 5 yards of space to get that second foot down too?
Yeah.
Like I remember seeing like memes on it. It's like, bro, how did you not get that second foot down?
Yeah, maybe like
no, but it was. Yeah, it's like, what are you just jumping out of bounds for? It was a really good game. First of all, it was a lot better game I thought it was going to be. I can definitely say that the Levis stock is going up, right? Pickett stock is going down, dude. I don't know what is going on with Pickett. I don't know if cause he was out last week, right? Or he got hurt halfway through the game. Is he still like banged up? Is he still like hurt or something? Yeah, like something's not right, bro. When you attempt 30 passes and throw for 162 yards, whatever you said it was, like I don't know. What's that?
160 even.
160 even. Yeah, I mean, props to them. They got it done when they needed to win that game, but they've been winning dirty. It's kind of like the whole season. That's why I picked them over Jaguars last week, which was not a good pick. But they just find a way to win dirty. Like, I don't know what it is. I don't know if it's that Mike Tomlin magic, but they just win dirty. Like, they honestly do. Like, they never, like, lead a game in, like, yards or time of possession or anything like that, but like, they always find a way to win. I don't know.
I was going to say, I think it's the first time. I saw a stat on this. I think someone says the first time in NFL history that a team has, it was the 6th time in NFL history a team has had less yards than their opponent in their first 8 games. So every game they've had less yards. And they're the only one that has a winning record out of all 6 teams that have had that happen. They're the only ones that
believe it.
Have a winning record.
Yeah. Yeah. Wow. Like, I don't know how they do it. I don't know. I mean, that defense is pretty stout. Like, what game was it? It was the Rams where TJ Watt got like a pick 6 in the beginning of like the second half that kind of helped him be in like control of that game. But I don't know, man. Props to them for being able to win. Will Levis looked a lot better than I thought he was going to be, so his stock again is going up.
Yeah.
That offense, the Steelers' offense needs to figure something out, though. Like maybe it's just running the ball more with Harris and Warren and taking less pressure off Pickett or something like that. But like they need to figure something out because at some point, like the winning dirty is not going to work.
Right.
Well, I say that, and it's week 9. They keep on doing it, so I don't know.
Well, I mean, I think
I don't know.
you kind of see when they play as like a superior talented team, the winning dirty doesn't work. You know, doing the little things right keeps you maybe in the game, but it's not gonna help you win that game. If you're playing the Cowboys, the Eagles, the Niners, as we saw before, the Chiefs, you're not gonna play win dirty and nitty gritty this out to win this one out. I mean, it works on lesser talented teams like the Titans, who have what has to be like the worst O-line in the league or one of the worst O-lines in the league. Starting a rookie quarterback in his second game. But yeah, like I said, I agree with you. Levis' stock is definitely going up. I wonder how much being a second round pick versus being a top 10 pick has really made it easier for him because there's less stress, less pressure to go on and be the guy. He can just go in and be Will Levis, whatever that is. But he's made some
because he's been learning for months now. Yeah,
and no one's been calling for him to start. No one's like, there aren't fans, screaming. There's no bunch of tweets and interview questions. Well, when are we going to see Levis? It's been, he got to just sit back there and go to work as much as he wanted to, as much as he could.
Yeah, I think they do a great job with taking pressure off the quarterback too, like relying on that run game, getting a lot of second and favorable, I guess, situations. Like there weren't many times that they were behind the sticks, forcing him to pretty much drop back and pass a lot, which is towards the end of the game they kind of had to, but he was still dropping dimes too.
I think it was like the fourth quarter. It seemed like the offense had kind of gone a little bit stale. They were trying to get too cute with some of the stuff they were doing, and when they did get behind the sticks, it didn't look pretty. It was going to be a 3 and out or whatever. So,
which makes sense. They're a running team. They're running first team, like most teams are. Yeah. But another thing I had noted too was Joey Porter Jr. looked damn good. He was traveling with Hopkins throughout the entire game, and I think Hopkins finished with 4 catches, 50 yards, something like that.
Yeah. Well, actually, I got it right here. He had 4 catches, 60 yards.
60 yards. Yeah. Which is not too bad after he had a monster week last week. I think he had 2 tutties and over 100 last week for the Titans. And I was watching a lot of Porter Jr. He looked good. He looked good. That's pretty much the only thing I gotta say. I'm intrigued to see how the rest of the season will play out for him because they run man coverage a lot. But he looked good.
Yeah, and to add on to that, another guy that I don't think got enough attention last night was Nick Herbert. I'm sorry, not Nick Herbert. Oh my gosh, Alex Highsmith.
Yeah,
Alex Highsmith.
He was impacted a lot.
Yeah,
lots of pressure.
Again, Tennessee has one of the worst tackles, 2 of the worst tackles in the league, and their backups now at this point. It doesn't matter. You got to win your matchups. You play who you play, and he looked dominant. And then they were fucking around. I thought it was. I don't know if it was doing too much sometimes a little bit, but when you have guys like that, you kind of do. But they're kind of like rushing TJ Watt from different spots, bringing him over the center, trying to get him matched up on a guard instead. And it's like I feel like TJ Watt's one of those guys. You just got to let him get on the edge and let him go to work. Let him do his thing. Maybe flipping him around back and forth. Sure, I can see that. Lining him up in the middle, and when they start getting their cadence, then he picks a side and goes. But I don't know if I was a big fan of rushing him up the middle as much. But definitely Alex Highsmith was just dominant. And again, it's one of those guys I didn't really hear about until after he signed his contract this past offseason. Where I'm
Me
like,
too.
oh, guy. Yeah, all of a sudden every game I watch, I'm like, this dude, I see why he got the deal. This he's a badass. I mean, he's great. Again, and playing on the opposite side of TJ, he creates a great bookend for him. So I just want to give him a little shout out, a little bit of attention there for the great game he had.
For sure.
Yeah, I agree with you. Levis' stock going up. He made some great layered throws. He also made some boneheaded rookie mistakes, got baited into a couple bad throws towards the end of the game yesterday. I think on that final drive, it did eventually get picked, but there was 2 or 3 other balls that were right in defenders' hands.
Got tips. Yeah.
Yeah, got tipped, or like it literally just went through a guy's hands. I was like, that could have ended the game. And then sure as shit, last throw, right to Quan Alexander. But again, that's a rookie mistake thing. You hope he'll get better with that. But I don't
Yeah.
know. Again, I really do wonder how much not having that pressure being the first, especially a top 5 pick, it allows you to play much more free. The expectations just are different for you. And on the flip side
Yeah,
of that coin,
he looked calm.
oh yeah, the whole time he looked calm. He looked in control. Again, only a couple bad throws here and there, but for the most part, it seemed like he was on target. It seemed like he knew where he wanted to go with the ball and was making great throws with it. Like I said, great layering, over the backer, right in front of a safety or right in front of corner. I don't remember watching him throw with too much anticipation, but
Yeah, me either.
he's kind of a bigger armed guy. So when you have a bigger arm like that, you can get away with throwing without anticipation. Because if you're late on the throw, you could just force it in there quicker.
Yeah. Do you know off the top of your head how long is Ryan Tannehill out for? Was he placed on the IR? I don't think he
No, I don't
was,
think it's
right?
placed on IR. I think
He's
the
just
main
out.
reason Levis got the start this week was because it was a short week. I think they're saying that if it had been a full week, that Tannehill would have started. So I think, and technically, I think Tannehill will be back or could be back next week. Now, do the Titans bring him back is a different story. If it were me, I think I would
Yeah,
just run with Levis and see what I have. But
me
that's
too.
just me. So
Yeah, me too. He's younger. He's running the offense pretty well. Probably has a stronger arm than Tannehill is right
yeah,
now, right?
they're able to
I
stretch the
would.
field a
I
little bit
mean,
better with Levis than they have all season with Tannehill.
yeah. And to your point though, if they do want to play Tannehill, I get it, right? Let your young quarterback, if you want him to sit for the rest of the season, he can sit and learn, I guess. But I mean, I don't know. He looked good enough to start though for the rest of the
Yeah,
season, in my own opinion.
yeah, and again, it takes a little bit of a load off of Derrick Henry because now they can't load the box as much. But on the flip side of that
Yeah.
coin, kind of what we talked about for a minute, uh, with the Steelers and winning gritty. My opinion, and this is just my own opinion, just one person. I don't see it with Pickett. I didn't see it when he got drafted.
Mm.
I gave it a season to see, like maybe he develops, maybe he'll show something crazy. He's a middle tier quarterback. Like that's his peak. His low is a bottom 5 quarterback. His peak is probably like at 15-ish, like around a Tannehill kind of a range. And he's probably more likely somewhere in that 20 to 15 range as like his average. And it's
Yeah.
scary to think of what that team could be with like a top 10 quarterback. Like if you plug in with the way Geno Smith's playing, if you plug in a Geno Smith into that team, I think they're a legitimate Super Bowl contender if you
Yeah.
put like a Geno Smith on that team right now. Like just even like that level of play. Not even to mention like a Trevor Lawrence or something like that.
They have the defense.
Oh yeah, they have the defense, they have the weapons, they have Pat Fryermuth and George Washington. And there's no reason Pickens should be getting 2 catches for -1 yard. You still got Deontay Johnson. I mean, they have the weapons there. They have a solid O line. Again, I'd probably say their O line's more middle of the pack, but it's solid enough. So if you can just
Yeah.
have more of a passing threat than what Pickett gives you, that should take some pressure off of Najee Harris and what's the other? Jalen Warren. Am I saying that right? Is it Jalen Warren?
Yeah, Jalen Warren, yeah, number 30, the other tailback.
Yeah. Take a little
Yeah.
bit of pressure off of them. I mean, that team could be, to me, that's a Super Bowl contending team with like a Trevor Lawrence there.
But who do they go after though? You know what I mean? Like I feel like they're just married with Pickett now. Like who unless you're saying that maybe they make a play for Kirk Cousins in the
Yeah,
offseason. You know what I mean?
maybe.
But I don't know.
Again, I'm not
I don't
suggesting
know.
any changes right now. I mean, we'll save that for the offseason. Let's see how the rest of the season goes and where they're at, where their actual
Yeah.
draft position is as well. But yeah, to me, it just seems like Pickett isn't the answer. He may be hurt, but 160 yards in 19 of 30 seems to be kind of par for the course for what I have watched from Kenny Pickett this year. So
Yeah. Yeah. I'm in the stands. Just let him finish out the season and then see what happens then. You know what I mean?
yeah,
Like
Yeah.
Now, right now, it does look like a quarterback that who they can win a Super Bowl with. No, but
No.
again, like he's in the middle of the second season. Let's see what happens, I guess. But yeah, I'm leading towards your direction, though. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
of saying, yeah, he's just at best a middle tier quarterback, but
Right.
see what
Like that's
happens. Maybe they can just get better with it. You know?
yeah. Like I said, and I'm not calling for them to bench him for Trubisky or something like that. Like that just wouldn't make
Oh
sense.
God.
I'm
Yeah.
saying absolutely roll with Pickett the rest of the year. Who knows? Maybe he flips a switch. Maybe he just becomes a complete dissector of defenses. But I haven't seen it with him. He's not horrible in terms of decision making, I guess. It's just more he seems so limited, and he doesn't throw with great anticipation from what I've seen. Like even the touchdown drive, they threw it to Deontay Johnson. I mean, that was more of a great play by Johnson than it was Kenny Pickett. And Johnson, like they kind of mentioned on the broadcast, showing his hands late, like last second, so the defender didn't have a chance to make a play on the ball. But the ball was still underthrown. The ball was still caught back here.
Yeah.
So that's just what
It
I'm
looked
seeing.
late in my opinion too.
Yeah.
Like the
Okay,
throw
so I'm glad I'm not alone on that one. But yeah, and if it were me in the offseason, I would be looking for an alternative solution at quarterback. But from my understanding, that's not how the Steelers normally operate. He's also a Pittsburgh dude.
Yeah.
So that's definitely going to make it much more difficult to move on. But speaking of moving on, let's get on to some other news of the week. We had the
trades.
Yeah.
Y'all.
We're gonna flash through these real quick. I'm just gonna say the trade. I want you to give me a grade and a quick explanation. All right.
Okay.
So Chase Young was traded to San Francisco for a 2024 compensatory third-round pick. What's your grade?
I would give it an A.
An A?
Because
Do
you want me to give my reasoning now?
Yeah, you can give reasoning. I'm good with that.
I think the financials make sense. The Niners are only paying like $500,000 to get Chase. It is a rental, but I give it an A because one, they're in the window to go win a title, and they needed another edge rusher. I obviously Young has his injury history. You got to keep that in the back of your mind, but he's playing good football right now. So go ahead, do it. You're giving him a late third round pick. It'd be around like 100, right? Like the number value would be like the pick value. So
yeah, pick would probably be around.
I think around.
That's if he signs a major contract. I'm sorry. No, that is the pick. If he leaves and signs a major contract, they get a third round pick back anyway. So it could be a net zero situation there.
So
perfect.
Basically, it's the cheap rental. Go get your guy. Go win the title. Basically.
Perfect. Montez Sweat was also traded from Washington to Chicago for a 2024 second-round pick. How you feel about that one?
This one's a little bit tougher because I honestly feel indifferent to it right now. I'll give him a C plus, because I feel indifferent about it. Yeah, Poles traded because high.
I was going to say it's incomplete because they haven't given him an extension yet.
Well, not even that. The extension is one piece of it where I'm not too concerned about it because I have the franchise tag. So, he's going to be with Chicago for next year and a half. But the extension would at least make me feel more at ease and also gives the team more flexibility with Jalen Johnson, right? Because if they franchise tag Sweat, Jalen Johnson is basically gone because extension talks right now are ceased. Unless they can maybe get a deal done after the season, which I don't know the probability of that happening. But I give it a C because I wanted Ryan Poles to keep that high second round pick. But I get the flip side of maybe he's looking at the prospects and, there's not a Myles Garrett or Nick Bosa type edge prospect in this upcoming class. Hell, it's not even a Will Anderson, what it seems like, type of prospect. So he probably was looking listen, we're not going to draft the edge or a high premier edge. Maybe they get one like a middle round or third round or something like that. Might as well fill this void now because their D-line is just piss poor and work with Sweat here in the building and maybe get a contract done. If not, we tag him and kind of move on. So yeah, so right now I feel indifferent, mostly because I want to see what he does. Like, you give up a top 40 pick, he better come out and produce for this defense. Like,
Yeah.
Brian Poles was talking him up. Obviously, we know what Sweat can do, and he should free up opportunities for the rest of the D line. So that's really what I'm waiting on, is just his overall performance with this team. So those are my thoughts.
Love it. I'd probably give it the Chase Young. I'd probably give it a B right now because I think it fills a need. If he performs well, I'd love to see him keep him around. If he doesn't, they walk. It's pretty much a net zero, like I said. As far as I give a grade for that one. Sweat, I'd probably give it an incomplete right now, just because I need a deal. If you're gonna give up that high of a pick, I need a deal. You can't get that guy and even franchise him for one extra year. Like, you need to make that trade with the intention of that's going to be our bookend guy for the next 4 or 5 years.
I mean, well, and kind of further. Sorry, I was using another case study too with the Ravens and Roquan Smith. I guess it took them like 2 months for a good deal after the trade happened. So like, I'm not too like, if the deal happens now, great. If it happens a month now, it's whatever. But yeah, exactly. For sure, I want that deal too. Yeah,
yeah. I just need the deal before I can go, okay, cool, I give this a B because you got your guy. There's a high. I think the thing that really makes it a negative for me, the only thing that really makes it a negative for me, with the assumption a deal is coming, is seeing what San Francisco paid for Chase Young versus what Chicago paid for Sweat. I mean, even Chicago's 3rd round pick would have been a huge outbid for San Francisco for Young or Sweat. So it kind of makes me wonder, did the Bears not bet against themselves in this situation? Just go into the situation like, hey, we're going to give you a second. We don't want a competition here. Give us Sweat.
That could be. Yeah, maybe he just wanted to be more aggressive. I mean, I kind of get it. When I looked at the numbers, I think he only missed 2 games in his career right now. So he's very durable. He can help out with the run, and obviously he's a good pass rusher. So maybe to your point, he's we'll give you our second just to kind of outbid everyone else. I don't know, man. I mean, I don't know. It's kind of hard because with the Niners and Chase Young, it's kind of was. I mean, they could always sign Chase Young after the season too. So I don't know if calling it a rental is the right rate, but it was kind of marketed as a short-term rental. So I kind of see that being a third, whereas the Bears are with the assumption that this is not going to be a rental. They're fucking 2-6. This is going to be hopefully a long-term solution. They sign up for a 4-year deal, so they're like, fuck it, we'll give you the 2nd round pick for this guy to be with us for 4 years.
Well, in terms of Ryan Poles, it's kind of like, how do I put that? Him not being a rental or not being a rental isn't Ryan Poles' problem. The value is still the value. If we're giving you the best deal out there, it doesn't matter if we want to bench him and never, cut him after we get him. It doesn't matter what we're going to do once we get him. We're willing to pay a little bit higher than everybody else. But it seems like you went leaps and bounds above everybody. And that's where I'm saying the difference is. I mean, you could have offered your regular 3rd round pick and got Chase Young. So, and I think tier-wise, I would say Chase Young is definitely a slight tier above than Sweat. Again, granted, Sweat obviously has the ability, on his side, which is great. It doesn't. You can be the best player in the world, but if you're not available, what does it matter?
Those are my thoughts exactly. I think talent-wise, Young is definitely better. He's younger, and you look at the potential ceiling is definitely higher. But to your point too, you have to be out there in the field and playing. So I don't know.
For picturing wise for our viewers and for ourselves as well. That 2nd round pick is probably going to come in around pick 36. And that
definitely top 40.
And that comp pick is going to come back probably around pick 100 for simplicity. So that's 64 players of difference. That's almost 2 rounds of players difference in between. Which, when you start thinking about a whole 2nd round that you now have to sit out of, and potentially a whole 3rd round, of players missed. That's what the value was that was given up for Montez Sweat. Where I say that feels a little bit like an overpay to me. Like,
Yeah,
but I mean,
it also kind of depends too, like what other bidders were out there too. Like
yeah,
if Poles kind of felt like he had to go with this second round pick, it just makes me wonder too, like who else was out there offering a third or a second too.
yeah.
I think
Which I always kind of wondered,
I can't remember. The Falcons
can
were
GMs?
involved though, right?
I think so, maybe.
Yeah,
But
maybe.
I always kind of wondered that too. Can if you're a GM, can you call and ask? Say again, you're Ryan Poles, you're trading with oh my god, what's the GM for the Commanders?
I
Carson?
don't even
No,
know, to be honest with you.
whatever his name is, I can't remember right now. Can you like call me like, hey, what other offers have you gotten? I'm willing to match or beat them, but what do you got? Or is that one of those things where it's like, hey, you don't really ask that question because you're going to get lied to anyway, so you don't waste your time with that. You kind of got to work your way around it to feel around what the deal is.
I
But
bet he probably either the GM of the commies lied and it's like, yeah, we have a team who we project to be a middle round, second round pick offering us for like Sweat, or
yeah,
they could just be big straight up like, hey, this team, let's just say the Falcons for example, the Falcons offered us their second. We think there'd be like a middle tier, so like maybe round pick like 50 or something. What you got? You know what I mean? Like you gonna outbid him? Give us your second? Could we think it'll be top
of
10
course,
in the
we're
second
going to pick.
round or what? Yeah. I don't know.
Yeah. Again, I
I
feel
don't
like
know.
I still feel like being a GM would be so cool, and maybe at some point we'll make a Ryan Poles video. I think there's things Poles does well, and just my opinion, I don't think player valuation, not valuation. I don't think it's his strongest area. And I think we've kind of seen that with a couple of different examples now. Another one we'll be talking about in a second here. Well, we can just get to it. Jalen Johnson, among others, Hunter Renfrow, Devontae Adams, Brian Burns, Donnell Hunter, were all not traded. The biggest surprise of those, I feel like, was definitely Hunter Renfrow, who both teams wanted to get rid of. Like he wanted to be off the Raiders, and the Raiders wanted him off. So the fact that they couldn't find a
Yeah.
trade partner was wild to me. But Jalen Johnson was the one that kind of was a last minute, demanded a trade, hot commodity out of nowhere, and still didn't get moved. What is
one? A lot of people on Twitter were really shocked about that. I was not shocked about that. Once I heard what Ryan Poles was asking for him, I knew he wasn't gonna get moved. He was asking for a late first, early second round pick for a Jalen Johnson. In his own words, he wanted a high pick to go find another Jalen Johnson. So once I heard he wanted that, I don't think there's a team out there who was offering a first or a second for Jalen Johnson. I would not even offer that. You know what I mean? Like I don't think anyone in their right mind would agree to that. So
exactly,
yeah,
which I
I'm
mean,
not really surprised.
which is kind of my I kind of have a problem with that as well, because you're now in a situation based on the current parameters where you can only tag Sweat or Johnson. You're already far apart on a number for Johnson, and Sweat has already said, hey, I'm not thinking about a contract at all right now. So that means you're giving yourself 2 months to negotiate that contract at the end of the year. You can only tag one. So if you end up tagging Sweat and you lose Johnson, you're only going to get a late third round pick for Johnson. So, I mean, it seems like terrible value. You could have asked for a late second and got way better value than letting him walk and getting a late third, almost an early fourth. Which is what we kind of talked a little bit when
It's
the
all about
situation.
opportunity cost, though.
Yeah.
You and I talked about it, and I actually was in favor of pull strategy for that, because if you're only gaining 20, 30 picks in the draft for trading Johnson now, like is it worth it? I mean, I guess you get an extra pick. You just traded one for Sweat. I'm gonna try and think through it in like real time. Like maybe for him, he's like, I don't want to do that. Could we lose 8 games of a Jalen Johnson on our team for maybe a pick that's 20 or 30 best than what we would get if he left in like the off season? I don't know. Those
So
are my initial thoughts. Like I kind of see the balance in it.
So you're thinking like a middle third round pick as return, and you didn't see the value in that, or
Yeah, like I was saying, if he didn't get that second round offer, and I see teams are offering at best a third, right? then if you trade him now for a third, you lose out on Jalen Johnson for 8 more weeks. And if you were to get a third back, if he were to leave in free agency, what's really the difference then? Is
Right.
a
So
be
that I can
difference
get.
of 20.
If
Yeah.
you're only getting offered a late third as a trade, I wouldn't make that deal either, because I might as well keep him around and try to take that extra time to negotiate a new deal with him. But if it's a matter of, hey, I'm getting a late second, now me personally, I would probably consider and lean more towards maybe moving him, because with the way Jalen Johnson talked about it after, it seemed like the deals that he was getting out from other teams was way higher than what Ryan Poles was willing to offer him at all. And maybe we should just make that our segment, because I feel like this is such a huge topic, and be a little switch up from a quarterback. But there was a huge gap between what Poles was offering and what he was finding out in the market. So that tells me already that if you're that far off on a deal, you're not going to come to one in 2 months at the end of the season. So in that case, I would take a second round pick. Now again, a late third, no, I might as well keep him. High third,
Yeah.
I'd probably still want to keep him. That wouldn't really incentivize me. We start getting to like second round pick talk, I think I'd lean more towards moving off him, just because it doesn't seem like there's going to be any way where a deal is going to come to fruition. And if you have Sweat, you're probably going to end up tagging Sweat. So
yeah. And just a plus one, your thoughts on that. That's why I don't think Poles did it, because if you think about him, like, he, as trash the Bears are, they still want to win games, right? So he's probably thinking, okay, I could trade Jalen Johnson for a third round pick right now, but we lose him for 8 games. So the on-field performance of that defense is going to go way down, because we just lost our number one corner. So he probably was like, what's the trade-off? Like, what am I really gaining in this? Like, we make my defense worse right now, and then I'm not really getting a high pick to make my defense better next year and the following year. So he probably was like, screw it. Like, give me a first or a second. We're not going to do this.
Have that discussion and trade-off of, if you're not going to make the playoffs, what is it worth to be winning a bunch of games? Would you rather, what's the difference? If you're not going to make playoffs, what's the difference between 4-13 and 7-9 or 7-10? You're still not in the playoffs either way. But
they're on the hot seat.
Yeah.
Yeah, I honestly think they're just like, listen, we're just trying to salvage any wins that we can, because they won 5 games last 2 seasons total.
Yeah.
So they're probably like, screw it. Like, I'll take 5 wins this season. You know what I mean? Like, let's get anything we can to kind of bolster our own, like, jobs here, because we don't want to get fired. One last nugget on this Jalen Johnson thing before we move on. So I watched Ryan Poles' presser, and he said something really intriguing to me. He said that they've been talking, like, they as in Poles and Jalen Johnson and his camp have been talking since the Super Bowl last year. So they first met in LA, talk about the whole contract and yada yada yada. He also said in the presser that they haven't gotten to a place where, like, he doesn't know how far apart they actually are. So, like, what the hell have they been doing for the last 8 months? Yeah, he literally said that. He's like, I don't know where we're at. Like, neither side gave their final and best offer yet. I don't know what the gap is. So I'm sitting here, I'm like, y'all been talking since, like, February, dude. Like, how do you not know how far away the gap is?
Yeah, that's usually so.
How does that make sense? I'm like,
125. All right, well, we know it's 10 million. Like, it's not a hard fucking answer.
Yeah.
That's got to be. I'm hoping that's
why I don't get
it. That's so fucking bad.
I don't know if he's lying, but I'm like, what are you guys talking about then? The fucking weather? Well, like, what are you guys talking about when you guys meet?
I'll give it one last caveat too. And again, I really think we can make a whole video about this just in itself, and then we will move on, because we are way behind time on this. In my opinion, just pay him. Pay him $20 million. I mean, again, that sounds super easy to do being here, but you have the cap space. You have $110 million in cap space. And for the people that say, well, he's not a top 5 corner. He's not a Jair Alexander or whoever else. I can't remember the other guys at the top of the list right now. I think it's like Trayvon Diggs, and I want to say it's
Marlon
also
Humphrey's up there.
Humphreys is up. I think Marlon Humphreys is number 3. But either way, he's not in that category. Sure, and Jair Alexander's at $21 million right now. So you pay him, let's call it 20. Say you get him for 20, right? And 21's the highest. Here's what's going to happen. Oh my God, the corner for Atlanta. What's his name right now? He gets so little attention, but he's so good. Who's the?
hold on real quick. I'm looking at the numbers. Wow, just real quick. It goes Alexander, Ward, Ramsey, and Humphrey, and then Diggs.
Yeah.
They're the top 5 paid. Alexander's at 21, Ward's at 20, Ramsey's at 20, Marlon's at 19.5, Diggs at 19.4.
Right, so perfect. So say you don't want to pay, say.
Oh, you're thinking of Terrell. What's his first name?
AJ Terrell. God, I hate that guy doesn't get the attention he needs. That we're like, people like us forget his name. He's so good. Anyway,
I was looking on the list of contracts. I guess he must be still on his rookie deal because he's not on like the top 20 paid corners right now.
That's what I'm saying. So crazy. Like, he's going to be due for a contract soon, right? I think it's either this offseason or next. He's probably going to get $22 million, right? Then you have Patrick Surtain, who's probably going to get $23 million to beat that 22. Then you have the next.
So the market will always move.
Right. So then you have after that you have oh my gosh, come on. You have Tariq Woolen, and then you have Sauce Gardner, who's probably going to get 24, 25, 26 million, somewhere in that range. They're trying to beat each other by like $1 million each. So by the end of like the next 2 to 3 years, probably closer to 2 years, you're now paying him $20 million, and he's way out of the top 10. There's now a $6 million gap between him and the top. So I mean,
agreed.
When you think of it like that, it makes sense to just pay him the $20 million now because the market's only going to go up. Even if it goes up to $24 million, he's still going to fall out of the top 10. So about 2 years, you're making a great savings on it.
Yeah, agreed. Agreed. I mean, just give them the money. The Bears obviously need him, so pay him.
And I can get the argument if you had a bunch of other guys that you're paying right now, cap space was tight.
But they're paying no one. They're paying no one. They're going to restart a quarterback next year, so there's going to be a quarterback on a rookie deal, and then who else is there? Like, who else really is there?
Edmonds?
Edmonds locked up. Edwards is locked up. If they maybe extend Tevin Jenkins, which is a maybe because he still has injury issues every year. Yeah. That's a maybe. I don't know what DJ Moore's contract is like right now, but maybe he comes up next year or two.
From what I saw, it was pretty much just Edmonds and DJ Moore, the ones that are getting paid, I think. But let's get us back on track. So we're just going to speed around these. No more grades because we graded ourselves at a time. Rasul Douglas, in a 2024 fifth-round pick, was traded to Buffalo for a 2024 third-round pick. To me, that's a sign for the Packers that they're kind of calling it season and probably think that Jordan Love isn't the guy. That third-round pick could be used as leverage to move up in the draft. Leonard Williams was traded to Seattle from the New York Giants for a 2024 second and a 2025 fifth. Solid pickup by Seattle. He's a great interior rush kind of a guy. Josh Dobbs and a 2024 seventh round pick was traded to Minnesota for a 2024 sixth round late round pick swap. Great because Kirk Cousins just went down with the Achilles tear. It's an attempt to try to save their season. He looks really good in Arizona. Kevin Byard was traded to Philadelphia for Terrell Edmonds, and plus a 2024 fifth and sixth round picks. Decent move for Philly. He's a former Pro Bowl who's on the wrong side of 30, but hopefully goes over to the Eagles and helps make a scary defense a little bit scarier. Any side notes on that before we move on to our games or other news?
Yeah, I'll just kind of run through. Packers definitely waving the white flag for this season. I think they have like a top 8 pick right now. This season ends today, something like that. Maybe top 7.
I think so.
And is a good pickup for the Bills. With White being out for the season, they're looking to make a push for that title. So smart move there. Seahawks defensive line is going to be pretty solid. They signed Draymond Jones in the offseason in free agency. He used to play at the Broncos for a pretty decent sized contract. So got him and Leonard in the middle there. So they're going to be good up front. And then did they? Oh yeah,
Yeah,
they did. Yeah.
yeah, this
Holy
is Nick
shit.
Clark.
Damn. Yeah. So they're gonna have a really good D line.
Mhm.
And then I'm blanking. Dobbs to the Vikings. That I mean, I don't blame them. The NFC's weak. You can sneak in the playoffs. You could. They're 4-4 right now. I know they have that rookie going this week, Jalen Hall, I think,
Yeah,
against Atlanta playing this week. So
yeah.
let's see if they can get a win there and go in the next week 5-4. We bring Dobbs in, see what happens. But yeah, it was a pretty fun couple days here for that trade that deadline, and the Eagles, yeah, with Kevin Byard, almost forgot about him. That's probably one of the best pickups so far. Or I think it is for the entire trade deadline period. I mean, he makes that defense so much better. He's an all Pro Bowl safety. Exactly
Yeah.
what they needed.
I still think, again, maybe a little biased here. I still think that the Chase Young is probably the biggest move for me at the
Of
deadline.
course you do. He's like,
Well,
maybe
here's
a little biased here. Peakish.
here's why I say that. And the
No,
first
it is
when
good though.
I saw the Buyer trade, I thought the same thing. Like, that's the win of the deadline. And then I was looking at it, I was like, he wasn't having a great season in Tennessee. I think he's 31 right now. So, let me look it up just real quick. I don't remember the last time he even had a Pro Bowl season. So let me see. Before Tennessee fans and Eagles fans start yelling at me in the comment section.
Oh, they're already typing it up, dude. It's already lost cause, man. We already got cussed out 5 times.
Yeah, you'd be surprised. Well, people have to actually watch this deep in the video. Normally, they spend about 3 seconds, watch the headline, and then start yelling at us.
Yeah, that's fair.
Let's see here. So his last All-Pro season is 2-time All-Pro in 2017 and 2021. And he was a 2-time Pro Bowl in 2017, 2021. Interception co-leader in 2017. So he hasn't been an All-Pro since 2021, and he is 30 now. He just turned 30 in August. So again, it's still a solid pickup, but when I first heard it, I was like, wow, that's it. I mean, but I didn't realize how long ago we had the All Pro, which is about a couple seasons ago now, and he is 30 now. Guys start to slow down at that age. So
we get it. Your favorite team has the best trade. Yeah, we get it. Okay,
well, here's
we
the
can
funny
just
thing.
move on. No, I'm kidding.
I say this that Chase Young is going to get hurt his shoulder and be out for the year
No,
next week,
I hope not.
and then it's going to look like such a dumb trade.
He needs to stay freaking healthy, dude. He needs to stay fucking healthy, man. I know.
It's been unfortunate with the health injury.
Yeah.
All right, let's get to the rest of the news. So, big news down in Las Vegas. Mark Davis has fired GM Dave Ziegler, head coach Josh McDaniels, and offensive coordinator Mick Lombardi after just 25 games into their tenure, which is wild to me because he was just preaching about ability, and then you fire these 25. And again, I'm not saying that they shouldn't have been fired. I didn't like the hire to begin with. But it just seems wild to me that you're going to sit here and say, we need stability, then give them 6-year contracts and fire them a year and a half into those 6-year contracts. Like, at least give them a chance to figure out, turn around. Pull your guys into your office.
I'm laughing so much at this because, like, there was a clip on Twitter that was going around. I think he called Josh McDaniels like an asshole or something. Like they ran a play, and you see like Davis saying he's like asshole. It's like, and then you just gave him like $40 million to go like fire him, dude. It's like, what is going on here? Oh my god, yeah, no. I feel like the Raiders are a train wreck.
I know. Like, if you're going to talk stability, pull your guys into the office and be like, hey, I talked to the players. This is what I'm hearing. Let's make these changes. Let's get it figured out. But on another note, why are you talking to the players? He didn't, for those I don't know, he went and did like interviews with the veteran players to get their opinions and thoughts. And he came away from those interviews with the opinion that he needed to move on from Josh McDaniels. So it's like, what, could you imagine the CEO of Walmart going down to your local Walmart and asking staff, hey, do you think we're being run well here? No, that's what you hire the GM for. That's what you hire these people for. If you're not liking the product on the field, you're not seeing it go well. You pull your GM and head coach into the office and say, hey guys, what the fuck is going on? Explain to me like I'm 5 and why the fuck we're not winning these games. You told me you needed him.
He probably did. He probably did. I don't hate that move that much because like as an owner, I think that's actually pretty like cool. Like he came in here. He got like his hands dirty talking to the players, probably because he knew Josh McDaniels and his staff and the GMs all suck. So if you go talk to people who suck and try to save their jobs, you're like, listen, I'm gonna go right to the damn source. I'm going right to the damn well. Tell me what's going on here. Oh, they doing what? Okay, fired. You know what I mean? He's like,
Right.
like I actually don't like mind that.
And just to confirm, I don't hate them. I like the move. I hated the hiring to begin with. My problem is if your whole mentality going into the hiring was stability, you think you would have done a little bit better of background and research on this guy, that a year and a half in, you're not like, oh, wow, this was a fucking terrible hire. Who did this? And move on from the guy. You have to go find players to talk to because you can't trust your coaching staff and GM to tell you what the fuck is going on to make the right actions. That to me, it's like you're saying.
I can see your point there.
You're saying one thing but doing another, which is what baffles me and just kind of shows how dysfunctional that organization is. But again, I completely agree.
Man.
Should have been fired.
Listen, man, I knew it was a wrap for them when they got rid of Derek Carr.
Oh yeah.
Because who else in that decade? They got rid of Derek Carr and got brought in Jimmy G. Bro, what? Why'd you do that? Like, you got rid of a starter for 9 years for Jimmy G, which he's all right. Don't get me wrong, but like, what the hell are you doing, man? And then you got Adams crying.
It's a lateral move.
You got Adams crying in the corner. Yeah, dude. Like, I don't know what's going on, bro. You have Adams crying in the corner. He traded his best friend. He wants out of here, throwing his helmet at the sideline, saying this shit sucks. Like, bro, like it was a wrap when they traded away from like Carr, dude.
Yeah. A couple of little speed points here. Desmond Ridder was benched in Atlanta for Tyler Heineke.
Tyler. Or is it Taylor Heineke or Tyler Heineke?
Tyler, I think.
I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Whatever.
Is it
T Heineke?
I think. Yeah, T Heineke.
Anyway,
something Heineke.
Anyway, so to me, just a quick thought.
It is Taylor, I think.
Taylor? Okay. So to me, that just tells me that the Desmond Ridder experience in Atlanta is over. I can't think of any other quarterbacks that have been benched and came back better. So that tells me
you don't come back from that.
No, usually don't.
Yeah, you don't come back from that. It's done. They're trading for like Fields in like 3 months, so it's fine.
Probably. We got some awards announced. AFC Players of the Month. Offense, Tyreek Hill. Defense, Quincy Williams of the Jets. And safety and special teams, Brendyn McManus, kicker for the Broncos. Actually, I don't think he's on the Broncos anymore. He might be. Anyway, he's a kicker. We're fine. NFC Player of the Month.
He's a kicker. Move on.
On offense, A.J. Brown. Defense, Danielle Hunter. And special teams, Brandon Aubrey. I believe he's a puncher for Dallas. Rookies of the Month, Jordan Addison was for offense. Defense was Devin Witherspoon. So, our last little key bit here. It seems like the Packers are not sold on Jordan Love and are using the last 10 games to make a determination on him. So, must like to be a Packers fan.
I would say it's funny for like the 8 months before the season started. Packer fans and Bears fans going at it. Love is better. Fields is better. Blah, blah, blah. And they both are just mid. They're having a mid-off. It's like, what the hell? Yeah, like, they both stink. They won't be on either one of their teams next season. It's tough.
No.
That's tough.
Absolutely not. Yeah, it's not a close one. I can't remember anymore. But yeah, it must be tough to be a Packer. Oh, that's what I was gonna say. Oh, how the turntables, Packers. Oh, how the turntables.
Well, they still got 9 or 10, whatever, how many games left, so maybe they can turn around.
Yeah, maybe. We will see.
But maybe.
Moving on to our NFL games of the week. We have 4 of them. Pretty good ones, actually, I think last week I went 3-1.
Week.
Yeah.
You went 3-1, I went 2-2. Mm-hmm.
So 3-1 and 2-2. I got that right?
Yep.
Okay.
Spot on.
All right. What was the one that we were wrong on? Was it?
So you were right about the Jags Steelers. We were both right about the Seahawks Browns. I was right about the Vikings Packers, and then you were right about Bengals and Niners.
Yeah. I hate to be right about that last one, but I did see that coming.
You're like, it pains me.
It pained me, but I was like, I just know this is gonna go. I swear to God.
I was
And yeah,
pissed.
I made the
I was keeping hope for the both of us. They're not even my damn team.
I picked the Packers out of spite, so that's on me. I should have done
Yeah.
that.
Yeah.
Learn my lesson. I'll do it again, I'm sure. All right, for the slate of this week, we have Dolphins, Chiefs, Cowboys, Eagles, Bills, Bengals, and Seahawks and the Ravens. Great slew of games here. I think we have. I think someone's mentioned we have a playoff type game in every window on Sunday.
Hell yeah!
But let's kick it off
I'm ready.
in Germany. Dolphins are taking on the Chiefs in Frankfurt, Germany, so neutral sites. I will include the Dolphins got there at the beginning of the week. The Chiefs are getting there now. I think they got there today, actually.
Dolphins.
Kansas City is favored by 1.5 points. ESPN is giving Kansas City a 50.8% chance of winning. There should be rain in the morning that will clear up by game time. B, tell me your thoughts. Who are you taking?
What was the matchup in London? It was the Bills and the Jags. Yeah. And I took the damn Bills. I'm like, Bills are a better team. They'll beat the Jags. And I learned that they flew out on like Friday and they were jet lagged. They played like ass. Give me the Dolphins, man. They've been there throughout the week. Chiefs are just now flying in. They're going to be zombies out there. That was actually my original thinking. You kind of spurred that on to me when you said that. But like at some point, this is what I really was thinking. At some point, the Dolphins have to be a team over 500, right? Like they have to beat a good team at some point, right? So I'm like, no, this is the Dolphins' week. They got that offense. They got Jalen Ramsey back on defense. Chiefs' offense is sputtering a little bit. Give me Dolphins.
I hate when we pick the same team, but it worked out last time with the Seahawks and Browns. So I was already thinking Dolphins based on a couple of different factors, but the getting there early, I think I fans and the people don't really understand how much that really impedes it. Have you ever gone on like a cross country flight, flown from Florida to California or to anything like that? That whole next day, you're just useless. You're still trying to adjust. You're eating dinner for breakfast because you're like, what time is it? Now imagine that with like an 8-hour difference in Germany. I mean, it really does take a toll on the body. Plus, again, Dolphins have been explosive. There's going to be a little bit of rain, so it's about who do I think has the better run game. I'm going to give that to the Dolphins right now. And even ESPN and the betting odds are pretty split on this at 1.5 points and a 58% or 50% chance of winning. The only thing that makes me hesitant to pick the Dolphins is that proud franchises, proud teams bounce back hard after embarrassing losses. And the Chiefs got embarrassed last week by the Broncos. They didn't look like the Chiefs.
I forgot about that.
The Broncos, I think, had Mahomes for 2 picks. If I remember that right, 2 picks.
I think so. Yeah. They scored less than like 14 points, didn't they? Or did they score? I don't remember what the score was.
Around there.
But
I think it was like 20 to 14.
It was something like low scoring.
Yeah,
I forgot about that.
And so I guess we're going to see what has better resolve here: getting there late or being a proud franchise that just got embarrassed. So I'm going to give it to the getting there. I'm going to give it to the Dolphins and they're getting there late. But I do want to keep that in mind that if that does play a role into it, the Chiefs getting embarrassed last week will probably sway it a little bit. But next game we got a rivalry game in the NFC East. Cowboys versus the Eagles. The game will be in Philadelphia. The Eagles are favored by 3 points. So really it's a split tie because the home team gets a 3-point advantage anyway. ESPN is giving the Eagles a 49.9% chance of winning, which is actually higher than the other ones. I did pick the highest odd. I think the Cowboys were like a 49.2%. Yeah. I guess he's got to leave a little wiggle room in there, and for a tie, like a 1-point-something% for a tie. So
okay,
the weather is going to be about
dead even.
Yeah, I think it's the first time I've seen it where both teams were below a 50% chance of winning.
Interesting.
And then a 66% chance. I'm sorry, the weather is going to be 66 degrees with no wind, so it should be decent Philadelphia weather for the game. So who are you picking?
Interesting. Dude, this one's hard, man. I don't know. I'm gonna go with the Cowboy. Just because I think it's almost a coin toss, and there's a little bit of logic behind it since we are the National Football League. Uh, Jalen Hurts is a little bit banged up. His knees messed up. Which,
Mhm.
by the way, I almost hit a gnarly touchdown parlay last week. This dude fumbled on the goal line during the brotherly shove. Right after we did a fucking video on it, how to stop it. He was the last person I needed to fucking score, and he fumbled. Anyways, that's just me, just like venting. Nothing to do with this game, but give me the Cowboys. I feel like they're gonna lose because it's the Eagles and they can't beat the Eagles, but I'm just hoping for a coin flip and maybe the Cowboys will just win.
Yeah. Speaking of the brotherly show, I shit myself a little bit when I was watching that or highlights from the game, or I think I had the game on, and they ran the brotherly shove, but instead of actually running the shove, they ran a
Like a counter.
handoff to the right behind them.
Yeah.
Just after we'd released our video on how to stop it, and I was like, technically, with how we said to stop it, could help stop that play as well. But holy
It would have
fuck,
been
who had
tough.
that kind of a fucking wrinkle to it? Jesus
Yeah.
Christ. Man.
Yeah.
I was going to pick Cowboys because I think they got their swagger back. But again, I don't like us picking the same team. It never seems to work out for us.
Just pick the team you want to pick, bro. I promise you, we're not cursed. We sometimes just suck at this. But
I'm curious to see the fucking numbers. I think we've got 2 games right when we pick the same team out of like 20 opportunities. We can do the numbers after, but I don't think that we are very bad at it. I'm going to take the Eagles. It's in Philadelphia. They're the whole home team. Those Philadelphia fans are rowdy. I think the Cowboys are primed to get humbled again. They just came off a dominant win against. Oh my gosh, who did they just play? Oh gosh, that's going to bother me.
The Rams.
The Rams. They're coming off a dominant win against the Rams, where I think they put up 41 points again. So they are primed to be humbled again by the Eagles. So I'm going to take the Eagles there. Sometimes in life, it's just about noticing the patterns. If you can just notice the patterns in time, you can stay in front of things, even when logic dictates otherwise.
That was some like an Inception. What did he even just say? You're too smart for me right now. You're too smart for me. Let's just move on. Let's just move on, games.
We got Bills Bengals next. The game's going to be in Cincinnati, Ohio. The Bengals are favored by 2. ESPN 2 gives Buffalo a 67% chance of winning. It's going to be 63 degrees and a slight wind.
Another tough one.
They're all tough.
I want to say Bills. But I feel like the Bengals season started last week. Because they always start slow. Give me Cincy in their chili, I guess. I'll take the Bengals.
You son of a bitch.
Were you gonna take the Bengals?
I'm gonna take the Bengals. I thought they finally got their swagger back as well. I thought they played so well, but you know what? Even in that game last week, there were so many opportunities for them to fumble at, and you know they're in another situation where they're riding a high, and what happens when a team starts running a high? The NFL humbles them. So yep. I'm going to take the Bills, and I'm not too happy about it because the Bills just talked a bunch of shit to the Bengals, which is going to get me even more fired up. But I think Josh Allen definitely played really, really well. He kind of found his groove back last week as well. I think they played on Thursday Night Football too, so they've had about 10 days of rest, if I'm remembering this correctly. Correct me if I'm wrong.
Yeah, they did. Yeah, they played the Bucs.
So they've got about 10 days of rest. Josh Allen looks more like the Josh Allen we've seen before. And what was great to see in that game is they didn't just get it done with Stephon Diggs. They had, the younger guy, Khalil Shakir, stepping up. They had Gabe Davis stepping up. They had the rookie tight end, Dalton Kincaid, stepping up. And George Kittle toasted the Bengals defense for last game. I think he had 153 yards receiving. Dalton Kincaid's a great receiving tight end. He was at Utah. That's continued so far in the NFL. based on what we saw last week, and it seemed like they want to feed him. So, with that in mind, I'm going to take the Bills in this one.
There we go.
He's such a deadpan look. Just this motherfucker. You have the same
you
look.
taking the Bills because I picked the Bengals or what?
you give me the same look that you remember, like when The Price is Right. 700. What was their bet? 700. 701. You motherfucker.
At this point, I'm just so tired, honestly. I'll be honest with you here.
Well, let's get to this. We got our one segment for the day. Seahawks Ravens game is going to be in Baltimore. Ravens are favored by 6. ESPN is giving the Ravens a 70% chance of winning. The game is going to be 68 degrees with a slight wind. Beautiful weather. Who are you taking?
The Battle of the Birds.
Battle of the Birds.
Give me the Ravens. Give me the Ravens, dude. You know, they're playing well. They're at home. That's pretty much it. The Ravens.
Dirty bastard. No, I'm just kidding. I'm going to take the Ravens too. I'm not gonna, we'll be in sync on this one. It seems like an easy one.
We have a guaranteed two losses then.
Oh yeah, we do. The Ravens have looked really good so far this year, and I learned early on, don't bet against the Ravens. I've bet twice against some.
You did say that last week or two weeks ago. Yeah, you did.
I said I'm never betting against the Ravens again. And you said, what if they play the 49ers? I said I'm probably still going to take the Ravens. I'm not going to get fool me once. Shame
I think they
on
play
me.
like week 13. I think they play in the
fool me twice. Shame on me. I don't get fooled more than twice.
And then Lamar playing MVP football? Question mark?
Yeah, Lamar's
potentially question mark. Yeah,
well, I don't know where he went, but he hasn't been himself the last couple of years. He seems like he is back to doing Lamar things. Their passing game seems to be much better. Zay Flowers seems to be a dude. Odell Beckham's still crying in the corner, so that's pretty much par for the course there.
Nothing different there. Yeah,
nothing different there. It's funny how things in Baltimore stay the same. Running backs are all injured again. Mark Andrews is still a dog. Fucking OBJ is
flat.
Yeah. Time is a flat circle. All right, so we got here. We're split. We're both taking Dolphins. We're both taking Ravens. I've got Bills. You're Bengals. I'm Eagles. You're Cowboys. Am I right?
Yeah, you are spot on, my man.
All right, perfect, guys. So at this point, we normally do our segments of the week. We normally do 2 segments that release Wednesday and Friday. Because of time purposes, for those that don't know, B is on a later time than it's about 10 o'clock there. We're going to stick to the one segment.
I did drink some Four Loko, so I think I'm wired. Okay.
That explains your game picks.
I can't. You're just the way you're just looking at me.
You set yourself up for that one, all right? Anyway,
I wish I did.
I know. I was thinking, you know what sounds good? A Mexican Coke. Just Diet Coke.
Dude.
Reposado tequila with a little bit of lime juice in it. That'd be fantastic right now. I'm all out of Diet Coke, though. So.
Well. Just go to the damn gas station. Buy one like 2 minutes away from you.
In this weather, in California.
In this economy?
In this economy? Listen, I don't want to blow my grocery budget on tequila, but Coke? It's tough, man.
That's funny as hell.
All right. We're getting to RFL After Dark.
Yeah.
So I'll apologize. This happens every time we record at night. Let's get to our segment. Our segment is going to be, is the Las Vegas Raiders head coaching position a desirable job? When the firing came out, we put a tweet out that said, this has to be one of the least desirable job opportunities in the NFL this year. Got a lot of pushback on it. We're going to explain why you guys are wrong and we're right. That's why we have a podcast, because we like to do that. Maybe you want to take a lead on this one. Tell everyone why the Raiders job is not desirable.
Yeah, I would love to. Let me pull up this graphic here. Did I send it to you in text message? The Pat McAfee show had a nice graphic pulled up. It's like the head coaches that got fired the fastest in like a season, and there were 3 Raider head coaches on there. Like they just going through coaches like crazy, just firing them. Like boom, you're out 4 games. Like Lane Kiffin out, dude. The guy,
Josh
Jack
McDaniels.
McDaniels, 8 games out. And I'm missing who else was it? Was it here it is. Oh, here it is. So we have Josh McDaniels fired after 8 games. We have Dennis Allen fired after 4 games in the season. Four games. Lane
That was in
Kiffin,
his first
4 games. They're the most head coaches on this graphic that were fired the fastest in the season that were all Raiders coaches. Why would you want to coach there? They will fire, they will run you out of town. And they don't even have that much talent right now. So you have Jimmy G, who's gone. So I guess if you're a new coach, you're like, okay, well, Raiders will maybe tank because they're starting Aiden O'Connell, I think his name is, the rookie. Probably be a top 5 pick. Maybe you end up getting a nice quarterback. Okay, sure. You have Adams, who doesn't even want to be there. He hates his life right now in Vegas. So you probably have to move on from him. I guess you have Max Crosby, who's like the only hope you have on the entire team. And he probably wants to get traded too because they're like, this team sucks. No, I would not want to coach there unless you're a well-seasoned coach and like you just know you're not going to get fired after 3 games in the season, sure. But if you're a brand new guy who's like maybe offensive coordinator right now and you go take your first head coaching job there, good chance you're going to be fired after like 7 games. That's all.
Yeah, let's not piggyback off of that. So, I mean, a lot of things that were yelled at us were, well, they have so many weapons. It's like, you're right, they do have a lot of weapons. You do have Devontae Adams. You do have Hunter Renfrow, who's still a good player. I don't know why Josh McDaniels refused to use him. You still have Josh Jacobs. You have a rookie tight end who seems very promising in Mike Mayer, I believe his name is, from Notre Dame.
Mayer, yeah.
You have a great top 5 defensive end in Max Crosby. Absolutely. But that's you also have you have $54 million in cap space. And you also will have a top 10, potentially top 5 pick. Those are the benefits of the job, right? That's the positives that we will look at. Here's the negatives. Here's the reality of the position. You currently have the 7th oldest roster in the NFL. Next year, with a lot of veterans leaving, you're still going to have the 10th oldest roster under contract currently. Some of those guys are going to be brought back, I'm sure, which will keep you in that 7 to 10 range. So you're not a young team that's just on the cusp. You are an aging roster that's paying a lot of money to these guys. You have the worst defense. And that's making sense. You have a bottom 10 defense in the NFL. You guys keep dedicating resources to this and cannot get it figured out. Tyree Wilson so far has looked like a flop. He can still turn around. I'm not calling him a flop. I'm not calling him a bust. I'm just saying so far he hasn't done much. Opposite Max Crosby. You have, it looks like an okay linebacker, number 41. I can't remember his name off the top of my head, who looks okay there. Diablo Divine has been all right, maybe. You have one of the worst secondaries. You signed Marcus Peters, and it still looks horrible. You guys can't hold a bucket of water right now. Your O-line has looked like a bottom 10 unit, top to bottom. I can't even think of one guy. Colton Miller's okay. You got a top 15 left tackle. Everything else is trash. Everything else needs to be replaced. Josh Jacobs, you just used a franchise tag on. You have to either give him a long contract. So if you're hired as the GM, you have 2 months to make the determination to bring Josh Jacobs back or let him walk. That's it. You have to start fresh with this representation. You get 2 months to make that determination. You do have you have Devontae Adams. He's 31 now. He's an aging star, right? That you're paying a shit ton of money to.
Who hates his
life. It's not like he's not some young 27-year-old Devontae Adams you're getting. You're getting 30, 31-year-old Devontae Adams. He's going to start regressing soon. He's already kind of regressed a little bit. We're just not talking about it. We're blaming it on McDaniels. But he's already kind of regressed to a degree. So again,
which makes sense.
What was that?
Yeah, he's old. I said which makes sense. He's opposite. Like he's beyond the age of 30 now. So yeah, it makes sense. Yeah. But sorry, man.
Oh no, you're good. Yeah, I just want to make sure I heard what you were saying and wanted to acknowledge if you were saying something. Yeah. So again, you're going to this situation and you've to cap all that off with all the holes in that roster, right? That's just the internal problems. The external problems is that you have a owner that, again, has been shown multiple times to pull the trigger and firing quick. He's preaching stability, but his actions are saying other things. He's firing GMs, he's firing head coaches quick. They've gone through 2 GMs and 2 head coaches in 4 years. It doesn't mean those people didn't deserve to lose their jobs. But
yeah.
It doesn't mean those
I'm
people
just
didn't deserve
laughing.
to lose to.
The owner hates everyone he hires. Like it's just
No,
like he hires them. He's like, I hate you now. You're gone. Sorry, bro.
he treats hiring
I
head
gotta laugh
coaches
on
like
that.
buying a boat. The two happiest days when you buy a boat are the days you buy it and the day you sell it. For Mark Davis, it's the same thing. The two happiest days for him is when he hires a head coach and he fires a head coach. That's it. Everything else in between is miserable.
Yeah.
So that's
Um.
part of the external problems you have. Plus, you play in a division that guarantees you 2 losses a year because you play Patrick Mahomes, potentially 2 additional losses because you're playing the Chargers and Justin Herbert. And once they get their shit figured out with the new head coach, then you're going to get fucked by that. And then Russell Wilson and Sean Payton seem to have gotten the Broncos slowly turned around. Again, that's not 2 losses guaranteed a year. You can still pull those out. But you're looking at potentially 4 guaranteed losses a year with the owner that has 0 patience and a bottom 10 roster. If you're a first-time head coach, why would you tie your trailer to that wagon there? Like you're gonna get
reputation.
fired.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're right. Why would you put your reputation? Again, you got to think if you a hot commodity head coach and you have your opportunity to either take the Raiders head coaching job or the Chargers head coaching job, which do you think you're going to take? The Chargers. So the Raiders already aren't getting the best coach. Then you start going down the list. Potentially Bears might have an availability. The Commanders might have an availability. Usually about 7 coaches get fired every year. So we can start running through at some point. Maybe the Packers might have an availability. So if you're a first-time head coach, you're going to look at some of these other spots that have given their head coaches plenty of. I mean, the Bears, for all their talk of being a disorganized franchise, usually give their head coaches about 3 to 4 years to figure their shit out. The Raiders, you get a year and a half.
There's a dude there that won less than damn Josh McDaniels. He's still there in Chicago.
Oh,
he
yeah,
won
Josh
like half
McDaniels,
the game that Josh McDaniels did.
And in Chicago, he gets a statue. But you see what I'm saying? Like, why would you want to tie your wagon to that franchise? It makes no. It's such a
there's
bad
no reason.
spot. And you're still stuck with.
Yeah, and I'm sorry.
Go on.
I was gonna say I'm sorry, Raiders fans, but like there's just to put more logic behind my rant about the Raiders org and their head coach role. Like the point I was trying to get across, you also hit it on it too, is like why would you want to go work for someone that you feel like doesn't 100% back you? Like you have a short leash. Like going into it you have a short leash, right? So if you're a first time head coach, why would you want to put yourself in that situation where like you're around this team that, to your point, aging roster, lots of undecided moves with your star. So you might be put with like a bad roster from the get-go, okay?
Mm-hmm.
How do you know Mark Davis is going to be patient enough to let that GM build a roster for 2 years before just canning you? Because you guys are winning 3-4 games a season. Like, I mean, I would not want to do that.
No. And I mean, look at the 49ers. And again, bringing them up, whatever. By the same logic, Kyle Shanahan would have been fired halfway.
My favorite team.
Well, to be fair, this is where I'm tying it in here. Kyle Shanahan would have been fired.
I'm messing with you, bro.
Kyle Shanahan would have been fired halfway through his second year in 2018. They were a bad team. They went 6-10 in 2017 by a miracle trade for Jimmy back when Jimmy was still a hot commodity. 2018,
has he been
Jimmy
there for that long? Holy crap!
Yes.
He's been there for a minute.
2018, Jimmy Garoppolo got hurt in like the third game, but they were looking kind of rough at that point. I think they were 1-2. They'd lost to the Vikings and the Chiefs, and then had a bad year because they didn't have their starting quarterback and had to pay Nick Mullins all year. So you would have fired Kyle Shanahan a year and a half in. And it didn't look good at that point. It still looked like a bad roster. It still looked like they didn't have shit figured out. It wasn't until into the third year they finally started getting shit turned around and went 8-0. So that's what I'm saying when I say, sometimes you just need to have patience with it. It's like, yes, give them an opportunity to figure out, hey, the Jimmy thing maybe didn't work out. Hey, maybe this isn't working out. You can still, these are still people. They can still learn and adjust and hear and whatever else it is. But again, I'm not saying they should have kept him, but I'm saying if you're talking about stability, going back to our previous conversation, due diligence, hire better people, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
And then you touched on something that I wanted to touch on as well. What did you remind me of what you mentioned real quick?
I'm trying to think back to my rant here. I kind of talked about
Oh,
how the head coach might have a short leash, like right from like the get go, because Mark Davis like pretty much hates everyone that he hires. Was that what you're thinking of,
no,
or
sorry,
you
no,
thinking about
you're right.
something else?
It was the last thing you had just mentioned about being a new head coach. Oh, that's what I was going to say. And for regular people like us, because again, we all aren't NFL GMs. So to put in a situation we can imagine, you can either take a job that will pay you whatever 80,000 a year, because a lot. This was a comment we got to was, well, it's an NFL coaching job. Anyone's going to take that. Not necessarily. Again, you're up in your career. You're in your early 30s. You have a wife. You have a couple kids. Whatever. Right. You're at a pinnacle point in your career. You can either take an 80,000 a year job, full benefits, great ownership. They're going to give you an opportunity to learn the position and go through the trainings, get certifications, whatever you need for that position. Or you can take this job where they're going to pay you $200,000 a year, but it's a sales job. It doesn't have any benefits, and you're probably going to get fired after 6 months. Which job would you take? I mean,
Show me the money.
that's kind of the reality, huh?
I was kidding.
The sales job.
I said, show me the money.
Yeah, show me the money. I mean, that's
I would
kind of
say
like what the
verbal
Rams,
harassment for 200,000.
huh?
Well, no,
Right.
I said I would say verbal harassment for $200,000. No, you're spot on. I would feel like I'm looking over my shoulder every single day, like
Yeah,
on my hands and knees, begging the team. Listen, we need to go out there and win because like my house, I might have to sell it by like tomorrow if we end up
yeah.
losing. Like
You might as well
that's
even buy
not
a
a
house. You might as
healthy
well just
environment.
rent a woman. No. And again, you got to think these
Yeah,
guys are,
true.
they're young in their careers, but they probably have wives or kids or whatever situation where they're the breadwinner. You can't afford to sit here and risk it all in this job where you're going to get fired a year and a half in. You're going to get canned because you lost to Patrick Mahomes 4 times in 2 years. So I think, yeah, of course, a lot of people losing to Patrick Mahomes 4 times or 2 times, and every time they face him. So why would you risk
True.
your financial stability, your career? Because again, once you get fired from that, like typically you don't get another head coaching opportunity. It seems pretty few and far between, and the numbers don't
Right.
support making that decision anyway. I mean, look at Leslie Frazier, who got one opportunity with the Vikings and has never been a head coach since. Or in some guys
Forgot
even like,
about that.
yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
or like
I mean,
Jim Schwartz, another guy that got one opportunity in Detroit in a bad situation and will never get a head coaching opportunity again because of it. I
That's
mean, it's
that's what I kind of said too when we first started the segment. Like, unless you're a well-seasoned guy already, like you can probably go take that role and just know, like, if you just hope your name, your brand name is big enough to get another job if you wanted to afterwards, after you get canned
yeah,
after two games or something. Like,
yeah,
you know what I mean? Like,
yeah, word.
not saying this would happen, but if like a Jim Harbaugh type name left, college football, want to go coach for the NFL, I'm pretty sure he probably will find a job after the Raiders if he got canned,
Yeah,
because of his name and his like resume and his tenure, so stuff like that. But if you're a first time head coach, you gotta think this is probably like one and done. And like if I get fired after like 2 seasons here, it's gonna be tough to go find another
yeah.
job. So yeah.
And let's add a positive spin to this. Let's end this with a positive spin for the Raiders fans that did take the time to watch this. We don't want to just sit here and shit on your team. There's a way to turn this around. There's a way to make it more desirable because there are some pieces there. This is what I would like to see Mark Davis do to make the job more desirable. First things first, I would go in, I'd get a deal done with Josh Jacobs right now. I would, I know they got an interim GM. I would sit in with him and the interim GM and Josh Jacobs and his representation in a meeting, hammer out a deal, a 3-year, $36 million deal, whatever, 3-year, $40 million deal that gets him paid $15 million because he's still having a decent year this year, I believe. And you're then locking up your weapon for the future. Jimmy, you're kind of stuck with. You got one more year. He's guaranteed, I think, or dead cap hit of $20 million. So you make a determination of, hey, we're either going to move off of him and pay that, which, okay, you do that and it is what it is. You suck it up for the year. You go with a rookie quarterback, depending on where you move. Third thing, I would guarantee, again, I know they signed a 6-year contract. I would guarantee hands off. I would love to see him guarantee, come in a press conference and say that even. Whoever I bring in, they're running the show. I'm going to step back. I'm not going to touch it. They will handle all the daily operations. They will handle all the draft picks. They'll make all those determinations. Just let them run it and give them 3 years minimum. Guarantee them 3 years minimum. I don't know if you need to put it in the contract. I don't know how you want to make that happen, just as a promise, whatever it is. Give them 3 years to turn it around. Those couple moves right there, I think, already make the position way more desirable than what it was. And then you got some other moves you could probably like renegotiate Jimmy's deal, pay him money up front to try to, get it down to like a signing bonus, which takes money off the books, whatever you need to do to try to work it a little bit to get yourself more cap space. Just little moves like that make this job all of a sudden a lot more desirable. But I still feel like, and we kind of seem to agree on this, the biggest caveat about this position, the biggest hindrance on it is the owner. It's not even necessarily the job itself. Because, again, there's a couple of good pieces there. It sucks to play Mahomes twice a year. That's potentially 2, maybe 4 losses, including the Chargers, aging players, whatever. But overall, the roster itself isn't awful. Like, it's just a couple moves here and there. It could make a decent adjustment. But you don't have the time to make those adjustments. You essentially need to go in and hit on every single pick, which isn't a feasible, expectation. What are your thoughts?
You said it. You said it. You summarized it best. For me, my one gripe with the Raiders head coaching role is just the owner. It's just your boss. Like, that's the one thing. Like, yeah, the aging roster is an issue, but that's a solvable problem. Okay?
Mm-hmm.
You can't solve for an angst owner that's just like sitting up in the stands calling you an asshole during the game. Like, you just can't solve for that. Like, he is who he is. And like, I don't know how hands off he would be per se. Like, he seems pretty entrenched with the org. Like, to your point, when we first started the segment, he went down and got his hands dirty, and he's talking to players directly, having those meetings or interviews with them about how teams operating, which is fine to a certain extent. But you gotta remember, like, this dude fires fast, which I guess is a pro too. Like, once you see a mess happen, he's like, "No, what? No, I'm gonna own this mistake and clean house and try again," which is nice too from his perspective. But when you're applying for the role and thinking about taking it, it's like, damn, there's actually a good risk here that I could be canned in 2 years, and this is my once in a lifetime opportunity to be a head coach in the NFL. Do I want to go work for the Raiders? That's my entire point. Which someone will take that chance, because for them, they've been grinding their whole life for it, and they're like, no, screw it, I'll go do it. But in my mind, I'm like, it's risky. It's risky.
Yeah, I mean, and here's the other thing about it too. If you're promising, like a Ben Johnson from the Lions, right? If you're a Ben Johnson from the Lions, and the Chargers job goes to somebody else, whatever the other promising openings that come up and go to like Jim Harbaugh, or
I don't know if Bears is promising, but the Bears will be open.
yeah, the Bears probably open. But if you're looking at like the top 3, I'm gonna roll with the Chargers because I feel pretty confident that'll be open. You're looking at that and go, that's the only job I want. And that job gets filled with somebody else. There's no problem in staying one more year in Detroit. You've shown a consistent pattern of being a good coordinator. All it's going to happen is you stay one more year in the house that you already own, in the city you've already been in, coaching the players that you already know have been coaching around, and you get another year of stellar play and other things to make yourself look even better. You get a little more experience and knowledge picking the Dan Campbell's brain. It's a win-win for you if it's like Raiders or stay. I think it would just stay in that situation.
Yeah.
Dang, and there's one more thing I was going to include. Oh, here's another problem I have a little bit with the owner going down and talking to the players, meddling, interviewing, whatever, right? George Pickens today posted, "Release, free me." He doesn't like the way he's being used. He feels like he's not getting enough targets. He feels like whatever, right? And we as fans, and I'm sure the coaching staff, can look at him and be like, what the fuck are you talking about, dude? You're a second-year player. You're not getting released. You made your own boneheaded mistakes and misses and not getting your foot down. You could have had a touchdown plus, some more yardage there. All this other shit, right? Now imagine that's the guy that's determining whether you keep your job because he met with the owner and bitched about you. The owner came down and was like, "Hey, George, how are you feeling about Mike Tomlin?" I feel like he's trash and he's awful and he's not giving me the ball and he's not using me the way I'm supposed to be used and blah, 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 blah. That's your job now on that ass because he isn't doing what he's supposed to be doing, but all he's doing is bitching to the owner about how you're fucking him. So that's the kind of another problem I have a little bit going to the players because they might be disgruntled about something. You know, they had a bad game. They're not being used the way they think. They were promised this when they signed, and they don't feel like they've gotten that in return. So, are you really getting the full picture of what you're getting? Or are you getting a bunch of people complaining to you about what's going on?
Like, it's just like negative bias. Like, it's already biased
Exactly.
because, like, especially if Mark Davis went to go talk to, like, you know, Devontae Adams, who was like physically like unhappy with their last game. Like, of course, he's gonna be like, "Yeah, dude, this dude sucks. Like, he's not giving the ball. Had one target in the first half last week. You saw it. You called him a fucking asshole during the game.
Yeah.
He'd be like, "Oh yeah, you're right."
Yeah,
you know.
I mean, Devontae Adams is going to give you different feedback than Jimmy Garoppolo might, or Max Crosby might, you know, or like Colton Miller might. So, I mean, it kind of depends on who you're talking to and when. So that's kind of the problem I have with it a little bit too, is you might be getting a biased opinion about it. So, but that does wrap up, I think. Oh, go on. Sorry.
I was going to say one last note. I feel like he just went and talked to the players just to confirm his own decision. Like, I think you already knew. Like, he was going to fire them. He just went down there and be like, "Are you really not happy?" "Yeah, I'm not." "Okay, cool." Like, you know, like I feel like he just did that as a last check of like the box. But yeah,
which again, it's still wild. I couldn't imagine like the CEO of my company, and again, I don't work at the biggest company in the world, going to someone I'm over and being like, "Hey, is Emmett always in his office?" I don't know. He might not be. All right, he's gone then. Like that would. Like if you're not liking something I might be doing, or you have a question about my performance or my managerial style or my whatever I'm doing,
go talk to you directly.
I would much rather you come talk to me directly and be like, "This is what I'm hearing. This is what I'm seeing. Correct me if I'm wrong, or justify it, or fix it. Whatever." I mean, again, a year and a half in is not a long time to make changes and shit. I know the NFL season feels like it seems like it feels quick. But it's really a slow-moving process to make changes and shit. So, again, that's to me just like how I feel about it, and that just might be a me off thing. I don't like. It seems like an owner that meddles too much to me. Yeah, you don't really hear of, Art Rooney going around to the players. You don't hear of whoever owns the Seahawks now. I can't. It was what was his name? Paul something. But I think it's his sister owns it now. You don't see her going around to the players, which I think about the like good historically good franchises. You don't hear Robert Kraft going down talking to, Mac Jones about something. He leaves it to Bill Belichick to run the shit. And then he meets with Bill Belichick if he has a problem. So
yeah, that's fair.
But that does unless you got any last minute points.
No, I'm good. I said a lot, ranted a lot, vented a lot. So yeah, I'm good.
I feel like a good rant session today. But that does wrap it up for us. Why don't you guys head down in the comment section, tell us what you think. Is the Raiders job a great opportunity? Is it a bad opportunity? Agree with us? Where are we wrong? Let us know what you think. Hit the like and subscribe button while you're down there. We post these every week. Again, you guys can find us on YouTube, Twitter, TikTok, Instagram, and Spotify. But until next time, it's been Emmett. It's been B. Thank you for joining us, guys.